It's my pleasure to welcome onto the stage Reza, who's a Franco-Iranian photographer who's renowned, you probably know Reza, who's renowned for his work all around the world, particularly for the work he's been doing for the National Geographic, and his work represents diversity. Reza, où es-tu?
I'm thrilled to see you again, Reza. It's impossible to summarize your work in 5 minutes, in English or in French?
Well, hello, and it's a great moment for that OECD organized such gatherings with such a prestigious people talk about diversity. In 1952, when the United Nations started having their buildings in New York, they were looking for a poem, for a motto that will explain what the United Nations mission is it. They chose a poem by Persian 13th century poet Sa'di Shirazi. And it's happened that I was almost reading this poem from when I was 6 years old in Iran. And it goes that all human beings are part of one soul body. That's what happened to me 40 years, actually from 1979 till now, traveling in more than 100 countries for National Geographic, for many other organizations, and unfortunately spending more time in the war zones and the conflict and with refugees than being in other places. But what I have seen about this, all human beings are part of the one soul body, and this is exactly after 40 years I find about it. That's how the diversity is it. That's how everybody may be different, but what I find out that the color of blood is the same on everybody. This was my first things that I learned. We may be very different, but we all have the same soul and the same foundation. In the meantime, the poem goes that because we are all one soul body, so if one part of the body suffer, the whole body will suffer. And this also I learned in a hard way on the field, that when something's going wrong in Syria, going wrong in Rwanda, going wrong in Afghanistan, it is not only the people there that's suffering. Their suffering somehow wave to us also, and we also suffer with them, but we don't know. We are going to get Prozacs, but we don't know that the reason that we have this stress is because those people suffering all around the world. And that's how I have been seeing these sufferings. I have been witnessing that how the humans could be brutal to each other, and how in the meantime the human could help each other to become someone better, to create a better world. And that's how is our mission, is it? Our mission that we have the possibility and we have the privilege of sitting here and having the job that we had and being part of the world that we have is helping the people that's suffering. If we do not do this, and this is go from the poem, if we do not care about the human suffering, we are not allowed to call ourselves human beings. And this goes in the poem, and this is written in United Nations motto entrance door, and this is the poem that I was reading from when 6 years old. That's how I believe that humanity, we are going to the perfection, but each of us, every day, every moment, we have to think of what the Gandhi said. The Gandhi said, every story that you do, every moment that you want to launch a project, think about the most vulnerable people I have ever met, you have ever met, and ask you what I'm going to do, the conference which I'm going to participate, the book which I'm going to write, is it going to help those people, those vulnerable people? Because there are many of them. And that's how, if by doing this, we could bring humanity up, because humanity is worse that we sacrifice our lives for it. And that's come to me, the last things which I remember, another story which I had that was telling me the story of the old man, old farmer, planting a chestnut tree. Some young man passed through and he said, why you are giving so much of the pain to plant a chestnut tree that you will not see the fruit? Because it takes 25 years to give the fruit. He looks to them and he said, you know, all the chestnut that I have eaten in my life, the trees were planted with someone else before me. That's why we have to plant trees for the next generation. That's why we are here. That's why diversity, for me, is the seed of the plants that we are going to do. Thank you very much.